44 humiliating failures of the Biden administration.
Mr. Reagan.
Now, you may have been in recent weeks flabbergasted by the utter ignorance of your Biden-supporting friends and relatives concerning the many Trump victories over the past 4 years, and also by the many Biden failures over the past 5 months. Well, I've already made a video about the Trump victories, but here now I present to you a clear and concise list of the top failures in just the first 5 months of the Biden presidency. Strap in, folks. This is devastatingly disappointing, but I do think that listening to these will be a bit cathartic. I think hearing them read aloud, your subconscious will finally be unburdened from the stress and frustration caused by these issues. Furthermore, you'll have a nice, tidy list to refer to when talking to your brainwashed leftist friends and relatives about the man who got the most votes in U.S. history. Right. All right, the list. In one moment. First, I have to try to trick you into buying something that you probably don't need. Or maybe you do need. I guess the only way to find out is to watch the ad. Now, spring is here, and what do we do in spring? Spring cleaning. The mower needs to be sorted, the garden looks a little bit wrecked, and the barbecue needs some work. You might enjoy doing these jobs, but if you don't, or you can't, you're going to need to pay somebody else, and that takes a bit of money. And let's face it, putting money aside for comfortable retirement is the only way that you're going to get out of doing the lawn yourself, right? And if you got a little bit of money saved up in the bank, well, that way you can visit the kids, you can hike the trail, you can play golf, all the things that your friends are doing. And Noble Gold can help with this by investing in precious metals along with your other investments. A gold or silver IRA is a great way of doing this. And this month, Noble Gold is gifting a genuine rare Carson City minted Morgan silver dollar with every qualifying IRA or 401k that you invest with. And this thing is fantastic. I mean, even just the case, I love this thing. See, because I actually really love old coins and stuff like that. And it's absolutely beautiful. I looked it up, and these things are a nice little chunk of change, and it's genuinely old. I mean, apparently these things were distributed in the 70s. They were obviously minted in the 19th century. In 1964, after a century in obscurity in the vaults. So these were in like the vaults. And so in the 1960s, they were like, okay, let's go ahead and distribute these. And I think the initial offering was like $15, and all these collectors bought them up. But yeah, now that you can get one in this nifty case, I mean, this thing, it's beautiful. It really is sort of like an old-fashioned thing that you can have, and it reminds you of better days in America when everybody wasn't so woke and crazy. People say that, oh, if you're nostalgic for the old times, you're nostalgic for oppression. No, 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 no. If you're nostalgic for the old times, you're nostalgic for a time in America where people respected things like morality and ethics and not like wokeness and horrible things like that. But when people they actually had a sense of integrity. And I think people long for those days. All right, so if you want one of these Carson City coins and you want to invest in an IRA or a 401k, get in touch with the experts at noblegoldinvestments.com or call 877-646-5347 and talk to the experts now. That's 877-646-5347, or you can go to the website noblegoldinvestments.com or click the link in the description below. All right, we're back, and now without further ado, here is a list of the top failures of the Joe Biden administration so far. Number 1, exacerbated political polarization. Now, I'd like to comment on this one quickly. The left-wing media is constantly accusing Donald Trump of exacerbating political polarization. But in reality, Trump was never all that right-wing. The problem with Trump's presidency is that the Democrats and the leftist media constantly framed him as some kind of far-right fascist. So it was never Trump that was polarizing the country. It was the Democrats, including Joe Biden. And they continue to polarize the nation to this very day. Number 2, the Biden administration insists that the January 6th protest was the worst attack on democracy since the Civil War. Number 3, Biden destroyed the otherwise phenomenal economic rebound coming out of the pandemic by disincentivizing Americans from going back to work. Number 4, used the FBI to target January 6th protesters. Number 5, used the FBI to target Rudy Giuliani. Number 6, Biden delayed the reopening of schools, and he acquiesced to the demands of the teachers' unions. Number 7, delayed issuing new guidance on mask mandates for vaccinated Americans. Number 8, created the worst immigration crisis in American history. Number 9. Border czar Kamala Harris still hasn't visited the border. Number 10. Border czar Kamala Harris still hasn't done anything to fix the immigration crisis. Number 11. Journalists have been blocked from reporting on conditions in migrant facilities. Number 12. Ended cooperative asylum agreements with Mexico and Central American nations. Number 13. Revoked Trump's travel ban from high-risk countries, creating an opportunity for foreign-born terrorists. 14. Illegally halted border wall construction. 15. Halted deportation of illegal aliens. 16. Biden's border mess has also massively enriched and empowered Mexican cartels. 17. Biden takes 0 questions from reporters except ones scripted by his administration.
I'm sorry, this last question I'll take, and I'm really going to be in trouble.
18. Encouraged Major League Baseball to move their All-Star game out of Georgia to punish the state for enacting a new voting law he didn't like. 19. Killed the Keystone Pipeline and thousands of jobs with it. 20. Raised gas prices and in turn the price of countless goods and services. 21. Focused government spending on harmful Green New Deal priorities. 22. Rejoined the absurd Paris Climate Agreement. Number 23. Re-engaged the U.S. in the corrupt UN Human Rights Council. 24. Rejoined the corrupt WHO. 25. Hired Richard Levine to HHS despite his Cuomo-esque COVID nursing home order. 26. Projected weakness causing aggressive escalation of Chinese military. 27. Projected weakness causing aggressive escalation of Russian military. 28. Projected weakness causing renewed conflict between Israel and Hamas. 29. Biden is not respected by any world leader. Trump was not liked by other world leaders, but he was respected. 30. Reinstated teaching of critical race theory to federal employees. 31. Signed $2 trillion fake COVID relief bill filled with pork and leftist payoffs, redistributing wealth stolen from American taxpayers to Democrat cronies. Number 32. He's currently pushing a $2 trillion fake infrastructure plan filled with pork and leftist payoffs, redistributing wealth stolen from American taxpayers to Democrat cronies. Only 6% of that, by the way, is for infrastructure. 33. He bailed out mismanaged Democrat states with $350 billion, again stolen from American taxpayers. 34. Biden's reckless policies are inflating prices and reducing the value of the dollar. Inflation is the most insidious tax of all. 35. Leveraged schools to allow boys into girls' bathrooms and locker rooms. 36. Potentially destroyed girls' sports by leveraging schools to allow boys on girls' sports teams. 37. Redefined sex to include gender identity, creating a variety of problems for healthcare. 38. Promotes 1619 Project, teaching racism and false history to children. 39. Currently pushing several massive tax increases on Americans. 40. Massively increased violent crime. 41. Manipulated by Black Lives Matter. 42. Has done nothing to combat looting or violence by BLM or Antifa. 43. Established equity as the center of federal policy, officially making race, gender, and sexual orientation qualifying values for all considerations in the federal government over merit. And finally, pathetically attempted to take credit for Donald Trump's achievements. This is possibly the most pathetic failure of the Biden administration. It's been said that those who can't do teach, but in Biden's case, those who can't do take credit for the accomplishments of Donald Trump. It's so pathetic, in fact, that it's the subject of my next video, so stay tuned for that. Until then, remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant, it's just that they're abject failures. Good night.
President, in talking about the continuing recession tonight, you have blamed mistakes of the past, and you blamed the Congress. Does any of the blame belong to you?
Yes, because for many years I was a Democrat.
But does any of...
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.